So on my continuing journey through this little Lord of the Rings Middle-earth month that we're having over here at MS Paints, there's one model specifically I have been wanting to tackle since I started the prep. And that is the Dark Lord himself, Sauron. Cast beautifully and very fucking heavily in metal, this Sauron was originally part of a set with Isildur and Elendil. However, for this video we're just going to cover Sauron. It's a nifty, easy breezy and stress-free way to do dark armor. You remember in my last video he was looking pretty beat up and pretty sad for himself, and he was potentially held together with toffee, I could never really tell. He's been cleaned, restored, and now he just needs a few missing parts replacing. A couple of Joe's Space Wolf spares should probably do the trick. Now I know that Tolkien fans are especially twitchy at the moment, so I'm hoping that me using Space Brain parts on a Sauron won't trigger any of them. But before we get into the painting itself, I'm just going to take a moment to reflect on how great this 20-year-old model actually is. There's a lot of things to love about this model, I think. Even though I'm completely green to Middle-earth strategy battle games, Strategic Operations Simulator, Championship Manager, I've found so far the older stuff a joy to collect, mostly because metal minis give me immediate nostalgia hit. But there's something about the older, chunkier sculpts and the weight in your hand, especially when you have the shakes like I do, not only just reassuring, but the weight helps. You know, if your grip isn't very good, your sensitivity and your touch isn't that great, when you're holding certain plastic miniatures, it honestly feels like there's nothing in your hand, and it's kind of prone to dropping it, and or whatever, it feels a little bit fragile. This, I could go outside and play football with this, and then just glue it back together, and it would be completely fine. Wonderful little model. You can just see where certain types of tools were used, you can see how it was pressed, how it was designed around that mold pressing process. Absolutely fucking gorgeous. Nice, right, I'm gonna go prime it.
What's up guys, Tony Stefano here. I ain't in perpetual forward motion today. I broke my leg, so we're gonna move on. Let me tell you something. If, like my boy Sauron, you're trying to get a big group of people together, don't leave cryptic messages lying around like trash. Look no further than these wedding templates from Squarespace. No web design experience? No problem. Starting with these templates, you can get a page up and running in no time. Or maybe you're looking to set up your first business. Well, the browser-based tools from Squarespace mean that you can set up a main page. Here we go, Celebrimbor's Forge. List these unassuming rings here. Rings for men. Set your quantity. Then throw a random number out there. Let's say 9. And you're ready to go. Something more casual? Well, you can set up a handy blog to tell everyone about your favorite things. Or your one favorite thing. Squarespace has everything you need to establish yourself as a Dark Lord and rule over the lands of Middle-earth. So why not head to squarespace.com/MSPaints and use the code MSPaints at checkout to save yourself 10% of your first website subscription or domain. Alright, bye now.
As always, I'm armed with the ever-faithful super matte finish Colourforge Black, of course, but as Health and Safety Frog always says, always spray with a mask, or outside, or both. And straight away we're going to use a dark metallic to brush over pretty much every part of the armour that we can find. I don't specify colours because, well, for starters everyone has different sets of paint, and mostly because it doesn't actually just really matter, it's a dark metallic. Any kind of dark to mid metal silver will do the job. Feel free to leave the nooks and crannies untouched and black for a shading effect. Next, I've picked my brightest silver, and this is going to be a true dry brush in the sense that I like to get enough paint off the brush to make sure that I'm going to have to do 5 to 6 strokes to really notice the paint application. This foundation step is probably the most important, so take your time and feel the gradients. For any cloth parts, I'm simply working up from dark grey to mid grey to pure white. Aside from the white, I'm sticking blue bias with my grey to catch that cold, drab sort of look. And with the white, I'm only going to catch the extreme edges. mixed up some Black Templar contrast, about 2 to 1, maybe even 3 to 1, I didn't really check, with contrast medium. So it is going to be a pretty low pigment wash. Then slop it on one area at a time. I'm careful to make sure that my most raised areas aren't overly clogged with this stuff, and keeping recesses fairly unclogged to keep the drying time down. Same mixture goes onto the cloak and cloth areas. I believe Black Templar is slightly blue bias, which is why we lean that way with the greys in the first place. Next step could be another pass for Black Templar, but I wanted to give this Rattling Grime a little go. It's a new one, I've not tried it before. And this is a 1-to-1 mix with medium and applied to the recesses only. I've also added it to some less obvious places, but with the intention to drag and feather the paint out to ease those gradients into the darker areas. Once that's dry, we do a true dry brush again, aiming for the raised areas, but also on the larger curved or flat surfaces. I'm going to stipple that in to create the illusion of light. And the cloak, I don't think I actually bothered to dry brush the cloak, which is interesting. Maybe I don't need to, I guess I don't. Yeah, this model is such a simple colour palette. I want to take the time to make those stippled areas have that little something about them. And to mix things up here and there, I'm laying on some of the new Agrax Earthshade to add some variation. This goes into a few recesses, but also gets placed over a few entire panels to suggest the metal was, it's aged differently or it's originated from a different source, whatever. And in line with the Fellowship box set that I painted up in the last video, I'm simply going to dunk the big lad into some Geek Gaming Scenics New Zealand base ready range, and he is ready for battle. Supremely simple, but what I'm learning from the Middle-earth miniatures is that subtlety and more somber palettes often yield more pleasant results. He's understated, but I quite like that look about him. Nice quick one today, guys, but subscribe and join me next time for when we'll be doing a huge Lord of the Rings board build to round the month off. Cheers, I'm out of here.